So, I'm just letting you know I lost my LinkedIn. I knew I would. I was expecting it because my LinkedIn was starting to take off like a rocket. And I got like over 20 followers within like a few days, and my viewing went into the thousands and thousands and thousands, and people were starting to engage in that. And I knew it was only a matter of time because I was talking about it to actually, ironically, after the whole Adelina, making the Adelina live, right? One thing I was noticing with my LinkedIn is I was posting stuff, and within like 10, 15 seconds, someone was clicking on my links. Someone was clicking on it. And I was sitting there thinking, God, like I literally just posted that like not even 2 seconds ago. It's like someone was sitting, waiting to jump on my LinkedIn. Like within seconds of me posting stuff, it was getting an impression or a couple of impressions. So I thought, here we go. I'm about to lose my LinkedIn because Chris and Elon and all that do not want me getting investors, because I went back into my LinkedIn to put it out there for investors. And then I started noticing that as my numbers were climbing, someone was jumping on my post a second. So somebody is sitting there watching their LinkedIn, waiting for me to post stuff and jumping on it instantly. And I thought, here we go. I'm going to lose my LinkedIn. And then I just posted that thing about Rebecca, and within seconds I got a thing from LinkedIn to say, same thing with Instagram. Unusual activity on your LinkedIn. It could be fraud, temporarily restricted. You need to upload government ID. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. People know where to find me. They've got my email address. I just hope that they've remembered my email address, but I'm not gonna, I had been talking to my kids and my sister about how well my Instagram had been doing and sending them screenshots. I had talked about it publicly kind of briefly, but I was showing my sister and my kids screenshots. So going back to the whole Adelina thing of people watching her phones and her conversations, and I knew I would lose my LinkedIn because I thought when I started putting the private conversations to my boys and my sister about my LinkedIn, that's when I started noticing that someone was jumping on my posts within like 3-4 seconds of me posting them, which means somebody was sitting there watching my LinkedIn like a hawk. And then the second I posted that video about Rebecca, I lost my LinkedIn. So, and who was I talking about in that video? Santaro, Chris, Rocio, all of them. So by them doing that to my LinkedIn and noticing that unusual behaviour with my LinkedIn, and me only talking about like how extremely successful my LinkedIn had become in private conversations, it further backs my claims that Rebecca and I were going through the exact same thing. So ironically, I hilariously just won the argument by Chris and Nat messing with my LinkedIn. Someone's going to contact me from LinkedIn within the next 48 hours to explain the situation, but I don't care. I don't care. And interestingly, when I went through that emotional spill for Rebecca and the realization of, like this is actually really happening and I've had no support, it's a hard load to bear when you know that people know other people are trying to kill you and stop you from saving children, and nobody cares. That they wouldn't even know if you were alive or dead. If you went quiet, no one would check on you. That's a hard load to bear. My sister would be the only one after maybe a few weeks of not hearing from me that she'd reach out to my sons and say, have you heard from your mum? And then my kids would realise, oh, I haven't spoken to mum in a while, sort of thing. That's a hard realisation, which is why I've been saying if I go quiet after 48 hours and they're trying to silence me by shutting my LinkedIn down, they really don't want me saving children. They really don't want me getting justice. Chris does not want to be held accountable for what he's done, because he knows that he's going to go to jail and he's going to lose everything. And it's just hilarious that I just posted that thing about Rebecca and the unusual activity of people watching her conversations and listening in on her conversations, and here I was sending screenshots to my sister and my boys about how successful my LinkedIn had become, knowing whoever was watching me was going to make sure that I got my LinkedIn shut down. And then as soon as I posted that thing about Rebecca and Santaro and Chris and Rosillo and the Hackings, and Rebecca and I going through the same thing, like within a minute or two of me posting it, I went to post the Erin, I was talking about that Erin, what was her name? Erin McVale, the scientist. It came up and said, we're temporarily shutting it down because unusual activity, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, so I was right, and Rebecca was right, and I was right. So, because I wrote message in a bottle, I know how this ends. Remember, he tries to stop her from escaping, so he narrows her opportunities down through funneling the air through the tunnel, because he doesn't want her breaking free from the bottle, because then he loses his moneymaker, right? Tardovsky. Because I wrote that movie, I know how it ends. And it ends with him being dragged off to jail and going to prison. And then the fairy finally gets to break free. So I know how it ends. So every time he stops, that every time he takes a social media thing away, or an avenue for me to go down, every time it's taken away, I just know that it's God narrowing down, like, what do you call it? Pinpointing, like laser focus. Instead of scanning far and wide across many social medias and many platforms, he's narrowing it down so that I can focus with pinpoint laser accuracy the direction I'm going. And at the moment, I'm spending less time on social media because I'm focusing on dealing with the people who are getting ready to be a part of my life in the real world, outside of social media. I'm doing all my work in there away from social media. So I was right. Everything I said, the whole Rebecca thing, everything I said they were doing to me, everything she said was happening to her, by Chris and that, by them doing that to my LinkedIn, I've been proven right. They're doing exactly what I said they were doing. And I know Chris will be involved. I 100% know Chris will be involved, because he tried to mess with my LinkedIn before, to the point where it got so bad he had to shut down his own LinkedIn because of the shit he was getting as a result of it. It was all coming back on him. He changed his LinkedIn name about 12 times because of the backlash he was getting when he tried to mess with my LinkedIn. So when I'm contacted by the LinkedIn team, because they said they'll be in touch within 48 hours, I'll just say no thank you. I'm not going to upload government ID just so that I can put the word out that I'm going to be looking to create jobs for people. I put my LinkedIn up to let people know that I'm getting ready to employ people once I get out of here, sort of thing. So I was denied my right to use a employment job seekers app, because Chris and Elon and that, they do not want me getting to America. Chris does not want me saving children. Chris does not want to go to prison for what he's done. He does not want to be exposed and held accountable for what he's done, because then everyone's going to realise what a liar he was, and that he does not like children at all. And the one thing he does not want more than anything is me being successful, especially because he works in the games industry and I'm getting into the games industry. So I've just proven that they've been watching my conversations on Telegram and WhatsApp. And they've been gearing up to take my LinkedIn. I was expecting it, which is why I was trying to put as much stuff out onto my LinkedIn before I lost access to it. I just hope I've done enough. And they'll come to me. They've got my email. I just hope I've done enough for enough people to get my email. But now I have witnesses and proof to everything Rebecca and I were saying. And then beautifully, just like back in October of 2019, when I went through my ego death, and Carl Jung and Dr. Jordan Peterson were there waiting for me. When I came out of the whole Rebecca thing and having to deal with the whole LinkedIn palaver, Carl Jung and Dr. Jordan Peterson were sitting waiting for me again. And it's like I was being reminded, don't give up. Remember why you're doing it. Remember why we put you through it. Remember why you had to go through it all. Just like back then, because, you know, as I keep saying, after what happened when I went through my ego death, when I finally turned my laptop back on and joined the world, it was Carl Jung and Jordan Peterson's videos that were sitting there. Well, it was Jordan Peterson's one first, and in watching his, his split of two psyches one, and the talking about integrating your shadow, the Carl Jung ones popped up, and when I listened to them, I thought, oh my God, so like I'm not crazy, I'm going through what he called a spiritual awakening, which then led to the whole Carl Jung thing, who was like the father of the occult supernatural psychology, psychoanalyzation, and because of those two, it turned me into an ascension scientist. So it's kind of like God turning my gaze to focus on what needed to be focused on, so that I could see and be reminded, yes, you've lost Instagram, yes, you've lost Facebook, yes, you lost WordPress, yes, you've lost your LinkedIn, but remember why you're doing it. And Carl Jung and Dr. Peterson are here to remind you why you're doing it. Don't give up. It doesn't matter what they threaten you with. It doesn't matter what they throw at you. It doesn't matter what they take away. It doesn't matter what name they call you. Don't give up. Remember why you're doing it. Christopher Black does not want me saving children. Elon Musk, Rocio Ray Nunez, Martin Arce, Donald Trump, obviously Donald Trump, Keir Starmer, they do not want me getting justice, getting my name cleared, saving the king, and getting out of here and saving those children, because then I end up more successful than them. I end up a better leader. I get Elon Musk's space program. I get Christopher Black's games company. I get Donald Trump's followers. Because their lives are being torn apart. Everything is coming down around them, and as their lives are being torn apart, I'm being exalted by God. And they hate that, because they hate God. and they hate the fact that I have a relationship with God that they'll never have. Just talking about quantum magnetics in my post. Quantum mechanics, the science of the conscious evolution. That's my baby. That's quantum mechanics is why I'm an ascension scientist. So I know how this works. So I'm not upset. I was waiting to lose my LinkedIn, especially when I realised that someone was jumping on my post within like 3 to 10 seconds it was. And I thought, here we go. Chris is going to make sure I lose that. But it's okay, because I know he ends up in prison. Because he forgets that other people are watching, and everybody knows I'm telling the truth now. And by some grace of God, Rebecca has just come up and said, yep, Debbie's telling the truth because it happened to me. And in turn, I've now turned around and said, what did they do to her? Because the common denominator between Rebecca and I is Santaro and Chris and Ria and Rocio and that. So there's no smoke without fire, eh? So I'm just going to get back to my writing and doing what I'm loving to do. I've got to have some dinner, but just that whole shock of that message from Rebecca, like listening to what she was saying, it really hit me hard, because I'm surviving and others aren't. I survived the attempts, whereas others didn't. And what do you call it? It's called survivor's guilt. I have survivor's guilt. Why was I saved? I didn't have the money that they did. I didn't have the followers. I didn't have the reputation or the degrees or the respect or the love or the support that any of them did. I'm a pauper. I'm here by myself. The only contact I have is with my 2 sons and my sister, because I have to keep myself isolated for my own protection at the moment until I get justice. And yet I survived. And they keep throwing stuff at me, and I just keep getting up, brushing myself off, and focusing on getting across the finish line. And then I'm seeing all these people around me not survive, and that's she never had children. She had her life taken from her at such a young age, and I truly believe it's because she got pulled into the wrong crowd, and it made her a target. But whereas she shut everything down and walked away, I stood in defiance and fought and just got louder, because I'm not going down without a fight. I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. So that's why I was emotional, because it's like it's a lot to handle when you realise that if you were killed, if someone came and snuffed my light out right now, it would probably be weeks before anyone even realised. And then I'd have no one at my funeral, and then I'd be put in a pauper's grave. And I, only a few years ago, was surrounded by people who swore black and blue that they loved me and they were supporting me no matter what, and we were in this together, and we're going to get to America together, and we're going to do this together. And then all those people turned around and put so many obstacles in my path that it's now gotten to the point where I know that if I was taken out right now, it would be weeks before my body was found. all because I told the truth and I saw everything and I wasn't afraid to expose it. Whereas Rebecca shut everything down and tried to remove herself from it, and she still died. So then I have survivor's guilt. And it's almost like everybody else that didn't make it is saying to me, come on, you can do this, you got to do this. Remember why you're doing this. You need to tell the truth about the occult. You need to tell the truth about aliens. You need to tell the truth about the supernatural. You need to tell the truth about the paranormal. You need to speak for us all. You know the truth. And we're going to help you get the truth out there, which is why I think Rebecca popped up. And the Queen Mother, and, they all did it in dreams and codes, sequences. Rebecca did it in a video that she posted how many years ago? Both Kiwis. So it's a lot to take on. So, the LinkedIn thing, I just hope that I reach enough people that they took my details down, my email, and they'll reach out when the time is right. But for whatever reason, God needed me to focus on other things, and that's completely fine. But I just love how when I went through the dark tunnel back in October 2019, when I went through my ego death, the exact same people were waiting for me when I had to go through that emotional dip just now. The exact same people were waiting for me. And they don't even know I exist. Well, I mean, Carl Jung's dead, but... So I said I brought Jordan Peterson into the thing, and I thanked him. I said, you have no idea what those videos that I found that day did for me. So, so I lost my LinkedIn, and it is what it is. And when they contact me, I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to jump through hoops simply because I use a VPN. And my ex-husband doesn't like the fact that my followers, I went from 69 to 80 followers in a few days. And I went from having double digit, I think it was, because I haven't been in for months, and I had a total of 300 and something impressions because I hadn't been in for months, and now I was nearing the 5,000s. Like I said, remember I said I got an email from LinkedIn to say, God, do you know you've had nearly 4,000 impressions in just the last 7 days? So, Chris and that watching wouldn't like that, and so I was waiting for it. Because the thing is, by me saying it and then them doing it, it proves what I'm saying they're doing right. And they forget that they have people watching them because they brought people in to watch me. So it is what it is. I'll focus my attention on what God needs to focus my attention on. And clearly, that's not LinkedIn anymore. And ever since I let go of Instagram and X, oh my God, I feel like I'm floating on air. Like I feel like a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. I feel like weight has been lifted off me. And now I'm just sitting listening to music and creating ideas and writing stories and planning my future with my sister in New York and that. And it feels incredible. So I'm just going to have to assume that with losing LinkedIn and that, it's just because I need to focus on my writing and my songs. And I'll still post the occasional stuff on YouTube, obviously, because I've got to let people know I'm alive. So I'm just letting you know I was right. And he pounced on me the second I got pounced on the second I put that video up. So really disappointed with LinkedIn, because now I'm not going to be able to advertise for the jobs that I'm going to be needing. I was going to use my LinkedIn obviously to advertise for a lot of the jobs, and LinkedIn have now denied me. So there's going to be people out there that I would have been able to give jobs to on LinkedIn that will now no longer be able to apply for those jobs, because LinkedIn decided that Chris's little game was more important. Believing the lies was more important than creating jobs in America. And America is the one country at the moment that needs the jobs the most. And I'm going to be employing hundreds of people, eventually thousands. So shame on LinkedIn. But more importantly, shame on Chris. Well, no, haha, Chris, because he's with Rebecca's help, I've been vindicated. My name's been cleared. She's helped me clear my name. So, and she's proven that all the people that cause her all her trouble in her life are the same people that cause the trouble in mine. And the common denominator being Santaro and Chris and all the rest of them. So there you go. So I'm going to go back to writing now. I need to have a lay down. My back is killing me because my scars are playing up. Even my tummy's sore. The oregano oil works 90% of the time, but sometimes it doesn't. And at the moment, I think it's just agitated because my scars are so sore. And when my scars are hurting enough that it's hurting my back, I know that I just need to take some time to rest. So don't worry if I go quiet. I'll keep posting, putting up little posts and stuff like that to let you know that I'm here, but I do need to have a rest because my scars are killing me, and I've got some shopping to do on the weekend, so I need to rest my stomach before I have to lift my shopping and that, because I'm here on my own, so I have no one to lift my shopping, and that causes me pain in itself, so I don't need to be aggravating it. So I'm going to go. Thank you for listening, and we'll see what happens next. But I feel like the closer I'm getting to crossing the finish line, the closer I'm getting to finding out that Christopher Black has been arrested for my attempted murder and for hacking my phone and all of that. And then I can just take my sister and get out of here. Great Britain has left me with PTSD. Not really, but I was laying here thinking before all that kicked off, when I found the Rebecca video and that, how I can't wait to get my teeth fixed, because I want to get to America with my broadest, biggest, beaming smile, because my teeth are the last reminder of what my ex-husband did to me, and I don't want to take anything of him with me to America. I want to be able to wash myself clean of him, and as long as I have to hide my smile or see, where my fillings fell out, my broken teeth and that sort of thing, because of the poison and the acid in my stomach destroying my teeth from the constant vomiting, it's always a reminder of what he tried to get away with. So I was just laying there thinking about the day when I get to get my new glasses, and my teeth fixed. And then I will be able to smile, and I won't stop smiling. I smile all the time in private, never in public. I want to be able to make videos where you see my face. It's the only reason why you don't see my face is because of my teeth. It's been a wonderful lesson in the art of vanity. It's not because of vanity, it's because of my dignity. Because, I've worked hard to lose over 17 stone. I gave up smoking, I gave up drinking, I gave up an unhealthy eating lifestyle. I worked on myself. I did etiquette classes. I've refined myself. And the last reminder that I have, other than the fact that I live in poverty, is, and my holy clothes and all that, the last reminder I have of what I went through is my teeth. Of what he put me through is my teeth. Of what the hospital did to me is my teeth. And I just think that I deserve, after everything I've overcome and survived, I deserve to be able to smile my broadest, brightest smile. So I was laying there thinking about the day I get to look in the mirror when they fix my teeth, because I want to have implants where possible. If they can't fix them, do implants. Otherwise, if they can fix them, you know what they can't fix, do implants and stuff. So it's going to cost a few grand, and there's places in Leeds and that can do it within a day, within 24 hours. So as soon as I've got the money, I'm getting my teeth done, I'm getting new glasses, and then I can start dressing and looking the way I feel on the inside. I've worked so hard on designing my new look, the clothes I want to wear, how I want to have my hair, you know, getting my eyebrows waxed every couple of weeks and all that sort of thing, perfecting my makeup, even though I only wear lip gloss and mascara and stuff, but, you know, looking good on the outside like I do on the inside, that's the bit that comes next. And then when I make my videos, you'll be able to see my face. Because I smile a lot and I laugh a lot when I make my videos, and I just, for the sake of my own dignity, I just, you know, I want my teeth fixed. So it's just, it's for my dignity. Because he's taken enough. He's done enough damage. They've taken the lump of flesh, which was part of the ego death as well. And now that I've built myself back up, I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of making me feel shamed or embarrassed, because when I smile, I wear proof in my mouth that he was poisoning me for so long that the constant vomiting damaged my stomach and wrecked my teeth, because he is the reason why I was forced to medicate when I was locked up. He was doing it before I got locked up, and then they made it worse. And it's all because of him and his lies. So I'm not giving him the satisfaction of knowing that if I turn the camera around, I would be embarrassed, because I am a woman, I am a lady, and I carry myself with poise and dignity now. And I know I have nothing to be ashamed of, but it's for my own personal development and growth. Because then when I beam my broadest smile, it's proof that I survived in spite of everything. And he can threaten me with my LinkedIn and all of that, I don't care, but I know he ends up in prison. I know he ends up in prison. I'm just waiting for justice to catch up to him. But though I know they're heading for his door, they're coming, Chris. And that will feed into his paranoia and anxiety, because he's the one that was diagnosed with mental health illnesses when we were living in Liverpool. That's why we moved to Derbyshire, for his mental health. And it will be feeding into his paranoia, because the sword of Damocles is hanging over his head, and he'll be waiting for it to drop, because he knows it's only a matter of time. When it's getting to the point when Santaro was defending him on her channel, and then she had to shut her channel down, and then he had to change his LinkedIn, people are already coming after them. So this will be feeding into his paranoia, which is why he'll be watching me like a hawk. Because he knows that the judges are making their final decision. And he knows he's lost. He knows he's lost, which is why he's doubling down on the attacks. He knows he's lost. But he's just waiting for that knock on the door. He's waiting for that call to say, you got to pay up. He'll have to sell his bike. He'll have to sell his stocks and shares and give it all to me before they cast him off to prison. And I 100% hold San and Chris and all the rest of them responsible to what happened to Rebecca, because if they hadn't dragged her in on all of this, she'd probably still be alive. So that's going to come back on them. And I wouldn't want to be them when karma catches up with them all. It's going to be brutal, because people, millions of people around the world loved Rebecca, and when they find out what happened to her and who was around her at the time were the same people that were around me, there will be pitchforks and torches. And remember, the prophecy said they won't be able to show their faces, nobody will give them jobs, nobody will rent them houses, nobody will want to associate with them, because these people that tried to stop me will become the most hated people in the world, and that's already starting to happen. Look at Donald Trump, look at Keir Starmer, look at Elon Musk, and now what's happening to San and Chris. So I was right about everything once again. So I'm just going to sit and wait and keep writing with my pen and paper and planning my future in New York. And I'll wait for my phone call or my knock on the door to say it's okay, it's safe now, you can come out. Remember my Rabbit Lands vampires. Remember I was just about to get out the car and I was pushed back in, and then the car flung the vampires and they got eaten by the people because they tried to have access to the car. They tried to stop me by attacking me in the car before I could get out of the car. So I was locked back in the car for my own protection, while the rest of the world took care of them. So by Chris and that removing my LinkedIn, by them doing what they just did, they've just thrown themselves in front of the animals that are about to tear them apart, because they messed with Rebecca. They called me a liar, they called me crazy, and they messed with Rebecca. They put Rebecca's life in danger. And now she's no longer with us. So, was Rebecca crazy too? So, two of us are saying the exact same thing. The both of us knew the exact same people. So, were we both crazy? Except she was believed and I wasn't. Because they made sure that whoever knew about me saw me as being someone who was a threat to national security and a threat to children. Couldn't be trusted around children. They made sure they did enough damage to my reputation so that people would think I couldn't even be trusted with my own children, because they didn't want me saving other people's children. They didn't even want me saving my own children. And I just took it. And I carried that weight and I carried that burden, and I just kept building and working on myself and building and working on myself and keeping myself alive while protecting the reputation of Jose, while protecting the reputation of Yodok Cello, who was dragged into it, protecting the reputation of Vladimir Putin and King Charles and that, and most of them don't even know I exist. But because of who I was having to deal with, they were having to deal with the same people. And I stood and defended them as well. And yeah, I'm the crazy one. I've proven myself time and time and time and time and time again. And I'm not doing it anymore. I walk away, I give up. I'm going to focus on myself and my sister. and getting us to America. I'm not going to beg and plead my case to anyone anymore. I'm not going to explain myself to anyone anymore. I'm going to put my science out there. I'm going to put my work out there. I'm going to write my stories. I'm going to write my musicals. I'm going to compose my music. And I'm going to work my ass off to get me and my sister the life that we deserve. And the people that are wanting to be a part of this are already starting to circle my orbit, which had nothing to do with LinkedIn. I mean, I was getting a lot of attention because of my LinkedIn, but the people circling my orbit haven't come from LinkedIn. Because I'm the light in the dark. And people are following me because of my light. They're attracted to my light. I'm giving them hope. I'm showing them the way out. I'm showing them the world that is waiting for us. That has nothing to do with Instagram and X and LinkedIn, and everything to do with the fact that my word, whether it is in private conversations, out on the street corner or here on YouTube, my word is raising people up and giving them hope and giving them a reason to get up every day and fight. Because I'm leading by example. And every time they knock me down, I just get up stronger and more determined, because I know how this works and I know how this ends. And regardless of what they threaten me with or what they try to do, I trust in God with the ancient prophecy, because I was told this was going to happen, and it doesn't matter what they do, just get up and fight back, get up and get out and keep walking, brush it off, keep walking. My teacher drummed that into my head. It's in the Bible. It's in the science of the ascension. They're going to try and knock you down. They're going to want to test your faith. They're going to want to have you on your knees. You don't give them the satisfaction. You get back up, you dust yourself off, and you keep moving. Because they do not decide your fate. Even though they think they have control over what is happening to you, they don't. They're doing everything God needs them to do in order for you to focus on where you need to focus, so that you can get to the finish line exactly how you're meant to. And with the laws of convex linear reversion, it's all going to come back on them now, because I understand the laws of physics, because, quantum mechanics and quantum entanglement, it's my physics. So, yeah. So I'm going to get back to writing. I kind of think I want to focus on behind closed doors now, sort of get an idea of how I want that to go. That's my version of Friends. Because all I have to do now with The Night of the Black Sun is come up with a couple of more tunes, which I've been documenting. Not always on YouTube. I've got some stuff that I've kept to myself, but yeah. So I'm going to go back to that. Get me and my sister to New York and live our best life, surrounded by trees and water and nature and bears and wolves and eagles and deer and raccoons and squirrels. And I can't wait. So thank you, Rebecca. You took me through a trip to the underworld there, but Carl Jung and Jordan Peterson were there to pick me back up out of it, just like last time. And I just hope I can do us all justice. All of us who have taken the hit. So I'm going to go. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. The day I find out Chris has been arrested, I'm going to get so drunk. Mwah.